because it's always so hard, right? I've talked to young entrepreneur, and I even contemplate it myself. Like, what's the right choice? How much do you go raise? What are you going after? And I think it's wise to, in that point, I haven't really thought about that, but your innovation level, your team, your basically your tribe mentality and connection to innovate quickly, go to market quick, do the right things.
Yeah.
When you get past that threshold of those 100 folks.
All right, it's great to be back here again on the show.
Yeah.
Are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we've been talking here this morning about the idiocy of boomers like me. That's how we kick this thing off. But
well, you, just for the record, you're the one that said that. Like Vladimir, Tobin, none of us said anything about that, man. Like, that was, as a boomer, you're talking about boomer. Just make sure everybody in the audience knows that.
I just speak the truth, and I repeat what my 14-year-old tells me.
Which is what?
That I'm a boomer, and we don't know anything. But
put us in our place.
That's right.
But anyway, no, we're here today. We've got a special guest with us.
Yeah.
Long distance, Tobin Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have Vladimir Goforth.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these guys are with Vantage Robotics. Tobin is one of the founders, and Vlad is in charge of marketing, I guess, or sales. Sales. Vlad's in charge.
Oh, it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It ties in together. I definitely feel like whenever we're doing our work, that's a lot of it. Is
Yeah.
tying those two together and making that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's got to get the order, right?
And we want the POs.
There you go.
Normally end those emails these days with saying, looking forward to that PO back.
Well, you guys have a very interesting company. Why don't you, before we get started.
Yes, I was just waiting.
This is another episode of
Big Talk
About
Small Business.
All right.
Tobin, how professional was that? That was pretty incredible. It was.
That was pretty good.
So tell us, though, Tobin, tell us about this business. What all do you do? How did you get into it?
We make drones and enabling components and ground system for drones. For first responders, national security, and critical infrastructure inspections. We have been in business now for 11 years.
Wow.
So founded the company December 24th, 2013, which my wife loved, that I was handling a corporation on Christmas Eve.
Sure.
Was it Little Christmas at your house? Did you say, like, don't spend too much this year on
And this Christmas, it's all about Tobin. You know?
We're going to need all the money we got, right?
Oh, man.
So that's been you said December 13th?
December 24th.
December 24th. I mean, of 13?
Yes.
It was 2013.
Where was this at? Where did you find, what area did you found it at?
San Francisco Bay Area. So I think it was probably my kitchen table. As most businesses are founded from. We now are in San Leandro, which is the midpoint between my house in San Francisco and my co-founder's house in South Bay.
Nice.
More.
So what motivated you to start this business?
It was a combination of factors. I've always had a fascination with flying things. And my background is mechanical engineering, but I started a software company that did fairly well. And it seemed like a chance to continue mechanical engineering, which is near and dear to my heart and I love, and software. And, I also worked for a company called IDEO that is, considered one of the best design consultancies in the country and have very close ties with Apple and very good at making those really refined consumer experiences. And I saw a real opportunity when I got into it that, drones were this kind of nerdy hobby tech that clearly had potential well beyond that nerdy hobby tech, and felt like I had the right experience and skill set to take it there, and seemed like an exciting challenge.
So you're kind of in the obviously the software side of things professionally, but on the hardware side of things with your mechanical engineering previous to your software, like that was your studies, mechanical engineering?
Yeah, and I also started a micro fuel cell company, so I've got a bit of experience making physical things as well,
Okay.
and designing them at IDEO at multiple degrees. So some experience in that front as well. But I've always enjoyed the multi-discipline challenges. I think I went through 5 majors before circling back to mechanical engineering.
Yeah, it's cool. And drones is like and robotics, obviously, perfect area to bring all those things together. Yeah. And then where you're located, obviously, there's a lot of fuel to that.
A lot of talent out there.
Yeah,
it's
a lot
an
of talent.
Place to do innovation. It's an expensive place to live, but a great place to innovate.
Yeah, and especially in today's time. I mean, it's even getting more like that, right? With AI and everything that's going on. It's pretty
100%.
crazy.
Yes.
So when you started this business, were you thinking that you were predominantly going to go after a government client base, which it seems like obviously that's been a strength of the firm, right?
Yes, it has. And no, my strategy as an entrepreneur has always been try to have a positive impact on the world and make the biggest impact you can. I've been very flexible as far as where that is and how that's done. But initially we actually started out a consumer and, saw ourselves very much as a creative tool. And, we considered a wide range of possible applications at the outset, looked into farming applications, looked into law enforcement, defense, and ultimately decided those markets were too nascent for us. The consumer was going to be the first adopter. And so the approach we took is went around, basically asked everyone I knew when I saw them. I said, show me your favorite picture, show me your favorite video that means the most to you, and tell me about it. And everyone was showing me pictures of their kids and their recent birthday party and their engagement. And my thinking was, let's make a drone that can make those pictures better and create something that will be effective and useful in social settings, which didn't exist. And so we set out to create a product that, solved the sort of issues. It was, easily portable and quiet and safe, and easy to use. And, I think we distinguished ourselves in that we were one of the only companies who actually did what they set out to do. This is a time when everyone and their brother was saying, I'm going to start a drone company to do something amazing. A lot of pretty notable failures. A lot of people like ourselves discovered it's really, really hard. And one of the things we learned along the way, in addition to very, very steady stream of humility, was that while what we did was valued in the consumer space, those innovations were much more highly valued elsewhere. And so, the first pivot we made was really initiated when CNN contacted us. And they said, hey, we're looking for a drone that we can fly legally over people. And currently that's not possible. And they were really excited about the innovations we had in safety, specifically the frangible design of our drone. And so we ended up working with the FAA and CNN to demonstrate the safety of our drone. And in the process, we created a lot of what's currently the method of testing the safety of drones. So some innovations there as well, but it ended up getting the first broad waiver in history for commercial flight over crowds of non-participants, which launched a transition into the most terrifying business you could ever be in, of having a very high-tech, cutting-edge product flying over lots of people. But we were successful at that, and then that is what really got our foot in the door with government customers when that market started to develop for small drones.
Hey, Tobin, real quick, what year was that when you did that flight over the crowd? You remember?
I think it was 2017, if
Yeah.
memory serves correct. Maybe 2016 was the first. I think we got the waiver. 2017 was when CNN was using it broadly.
Yeah, because like I think that's important because the context, like when I've recognized what you're talking about, because there's a lot of regulations related to these drones. I mean, in my experience, which is watching it from a retail perspective, like delivery and stuff like that. Obviously, those regulations have been opened up more since that time. But back when you're talking about, it was a lot of regulation to prevent bad things from happening, obviously, but that's a landmark scenario. I just want to point that out in that time period that you got that. Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah, we were excited. It was certainly an honor for us, and meaningful to get to feel like we can move the needle on pretty major national level regulate.
Impacted the whole industry, clearly.
It did.
It basically opened it up significantly, I would think, for a lot of competitors too at the same time, right?
Yeah, well, and you might appreciate that the backstory is a fun story where our office at the time was on top of a Home Depot, and the FAA was really stuck on this idea that safety was measured in joules in kinetic energy. Say this number, I think it was 14.7 joules, was what determined whether a drone was a threat or not. And no one really knew where that number came from or why that was the number, but everyone's like, this is the number, 14.7 joules. And so I ended up digging around, discovering that it was actually based on a study from the 1940s on battlefield shrapnel and the lethality of battlefield shrapnel. And then noted as well that there are similar studies for non-lethal ballistics munitions, and then for those studies, the number was 300 joules. And there are also studies on vehicles hitting pedestrians, and for that number, those studies, the number is 30,000 joules. And my point to that is you look at the wrong number. This isn't really a measure of safety. And in order to prove this point to them, we got a piece of EPS insulation foam from the Home Depot we were conveniently on top of. And we went to the top of our building and we dropped various objects on the drone, on the foam. And then we both took pictures of the impact craters, as well as we made measurements on, what's the total area displaced, what's the peak depth. We translated that into physics-based measurements, and then translated that into medical studies of what's the risk of skull fracture, what's the risk of cranial vertebrae fracture, and compared dropping shrapnel-like stuff with our drone, with other objects. And that was ultimately not only the basis of our approval, but also became at least last I heard, the ASTM standard for evaluating the safety of drones. At the time, everyone was trying to drop drones in the heads of crash test dummies, but they were really expensive. Depending on where it hit on the head of the dummy, you get totally different results. So it ended up being an effective innovation, as you said, kind of paving the way for other drone companies to evaluate the safety of their drones using a $15 piece of foam from Home Depot instead of a $250,000 crash test dummy.
Well, this is pure entrepreneurism, right? To challenge old rules, right? And old concepts. I mean, that's what we do, And
why wouldn't we?
Right, exactly.
Why wouldn't we? I mean, and one thing I think with Tobin is, regardless of what people think it did for our competitors, it's good for the industry,
Yeah. No, you opened it up.
Rising tides raise all ships.
That's right.
And that's what we want. We don't want to make anyone feel like they're not allowed to succeed in the industry. You deserve to succeed just as much as Mark and me, Tobin, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that innovation and I think collaboration between companies in the United States is necessary. I think we have a lot of people just saying, we're on this side, we're going to go head to head. When you look at a lot of other countries, that's not really the case. They collaborate internally and make better products.
Yeah.
We're seeing that out of China right now. So
no, that's fair. That is happening a lot in China.
Yeah. And so in keeping up here, obviously we pay people here good wages to live.
Mm-hmm.
We can't really keep up if it's a different kind of government that is,
propping them up. basically.
Getting 10 engineers for the cost of our one here.
Sure.
And so that makes it difficult to keep up, but I feel like we're doing a dang good job.
Yeah.
So do you make your drones here in the U.S.?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. And
Fully compliant, NDAA compliant, which is the National Defense Authorization Act here in the United States. We're fully compliant with that, as well as blue UAS and green UAS list. So it clears a lot of that red tape for a lot of the departments and agencies we're selling to. So it makes procurement of our drones a lot easier. So you can use grant money, federal funds, a lot of things like that. And, we're proud to be able to build these things in America and not source parts from other countries. I think it's important.
So you actually, all the parts are manufactured in the U.S. and
Almost all of them.
Okay.
There's little things like the motors and things like that can be from other countries. But as far as the transmission and the camera, those are all made in the United States. Correct, Tobin?
We are NDAA compliant. We have the final assembly all happens in the U.S. We do sometimes make PCBAs and other sub-assemblies in lower labor rate regions in order to keep the cost down, value high. So we work with partners in India and Taiwan as well.
And is everything assembled then and brought all together in the United States for sure, right?
It is.
where do you do that?
About 50 feet from me right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. San Leandro, California.
Nice.
Yeah. And one thing that's really great about our company is if you look at our price point for the drones that we make and their capabilities, we have the best price point as far as American manufacturers going, American EOMs. So I just think that ultimately, we are in a perfect position to really help public safety, law enforcement, our government. Our price point is definitely one of the best. And with everything that's going on in the country where prices are going up, we're proud to keep it low.
That's cool. So right now, like your market that your market you're really serving is, like you mentioned before, Tobin, the first responders, government organizations, and that's kind of where you are really leaned into right now at the moment.
Yeah. So before I came on, Tobin and team had secured a lot of funding through the government for developing drones for the Army, and closer to that $50 million mark and above at this point. Now that I'm on board and we're doing more public safety, I actually just got back into town last night from about a 2-week roadshow where we went to different states. I started in West Texas, closer to Austin and Burnett, Texas. Worked with Texas DPS and a lot of the guys that are working on the border down there. Moved into Louisiana. Then we met with over 40 agencies in Louisiana and Baton Rouge 2 weeks ago. And then we proceeded to Nashville, where we met about 25 more agencies. And then we went to West Virginia, and then I flew out of Washington, D.C. last night to be here. And each one of those stops, we were just seeing sheriff's offices, state police, police departments, and emergency management, fire departments, you name it. If we had the contacts and we invited them, they showed up. I can't tell you how many captains we had show up and say, why do we not have this kind of equipment in our department right now? And obviously you have certain things in certain parts of the country, regulations like Nashville, the Metropolitan Police actually cannot use drones because there's a law in place there where you cannot use aerial drones to watch people. And, that just takes time for those things to change. Ultimately, it would be safer for the city if that were to change, but we just have to work with what we've got right now.
Sounds a lot, reminds me of the alcohol industry, right? Where every county and every city's got a certain law, right? There's distribution. I mean, that's a little bit of it's a significant challenge to scale out your business, but you guys are fighting it and making that change. And
we have to.
Yeah.
We got to pivot fast, man. Our competitors are moving fast.
Competitors
really fast.
Being not necessarily your product competitors, but you're talking about
the solution.
Ultimately, we're up against a lot of different things. The biggest elephant in the room for us is a company called DJI out of China.
Yeah.
They make amazing drones.
Sure.
And because of where they are in the world, they can pump money into their business.
And they were a first mover on the consumer side of drones, wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. They were a pretty early adopter, and just because of their ability to innovate and create new technology and new drones very quickly, they have a pretty stronghold, pretty good stronghold on our drone space here in the United States. Yeah. We have a lot of departments too that expect a certain standard now. because of what they put out. But with legislation coming down, as you know, the security thing that's coming into America, they're being outlawed, essentially. Certain states, the government can't use them anymore. But it's because they found that, you know, there was transmission going back to Shenzhen, and videos, pictures, flight data, all was being transmitted back.
Wow.
We can't allow that to happen, because ultimately now, you know, the entire United States has been mapped. And they have, I mean, they have tens of thousands of drones over here, man. Tens of thousands.
But have they mapped out Antarctica yet?
Probably.
That's what
Probably.
they say. There's aliens.
I would say.
I want to know.
That's your next market.
I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
So Tobin, now have you guys thought about going after the private sector in a B2B? Is that a consideration, or is it all government and institutional type clients that you are working with?
No, it very much is, and in two ways. So, you know, there are three primary customers that we serve. So defense, first responders, critical infrastructure inspections. That last one, you know, is sort of the public-private domain, but that's certainly in the private industry. And then the other one is other drone companies. So the controller you have there, Vision 2 controller, you know, I can humbly say is the best portable drone controller in the world today.
I wondered what this was.
It's the most portable controller you said?
It is the just flat out best of portable drone controllers. And the thing that makes it the best is we're the only companies that have the technical sophistication to actually make a mobile computer from the ground up. The person running the program actually created the first Android tablet ever at Motorola. And that let us basically build the controller, choosing the right screen, choosing the right processor, and making a really effective mobile computer. Whereas everyone else is taking tablets and putting sticks around them with a screen that's ever intended to be viewed outdoors, an operating system they don't control, the really bulky, expensive piece of kind of cobbled together hardware. And so we offer that to other drone companies. And
so this is your product right here.
Yeah,
I mean, your proprietary.
And it's metal. That's
that's
cool.
serious, man.
I mean, is it wow?
Yeah.
Magnesium controller that can handle all kinds of conditions. And when you talk about institutional military, I mean, that's extremely important, obviously.
I'm sure they like that.
And it's portability. So this case fits this drone with a battery in it. And if you just carry both of these units, if you have it on your pack, say you have a Velcro on this, you just strap it to your shoulder,
to your molly,
and just go up a mountain, launch it. And the drone's super light. With a battery on it, it's 2.2 pounds. And our battery life right now, you're getting 50 minutes out of that flight time. You know, that's unheard of in the American space right now.
That is a very simple looking, cool, sort of Apple-esque design for a drone.
that's high praise.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
These are the two products you'll be selling to the.
We have three. So we also have a smaller drone than the one that you see there. But when we flew back in last night, my teammate needed it. We're doing a demo at Fort Rucker in Alabama
Here's
today.
the small drone. So this is the small drone with the controller in the packaging there, and then I'll pull it out so you can see it.
Yeah. It's literally 150 grams with the battery in it.
So it is a 150-gram drone with capabilities that actually surpass a lot of drones that weigh 2 kilograms. So it's, it'll fly over 6 kilometers away. It can fly in high wind, about 42-minute flight time. Has a thermal camera on there, as well as a 48-megapixel EO, all gimbal stabilized.
Yes.
Can we arm that thing? That's what I want to. I'm sorry.
We get asked that all. We had guys trying to
Can
strap
we arm
grenades
that
at.
thing?
I mean, it's.
So what's the benefit? Why would you want the bigger one? Does it have more flight time? I mean, there's just some specs to it, like
it has a little bit
more
flight time.
battery.
Yeah, and it all depends on what you're trying to do with it, right? Okay. So we also have a lot of different attachments. So when we were doing our demos for the narcotics units for the police departments yesterday, we have shrouds that go around all of our drone props. So for this and the trace, so they can fly indoors. So we can clear houses and actually alleviate an officer having to go inside and risk their lives. So the drone can go in, You can clear a room based on the officer's standards. They're like, we have to be able to see it
Sure.
like this. Check that room, move forward. Because if they send a guy and he gets
Right.
shot, that's not going to work.
You're saving lives with this technology.
It is.
Shrouds being like they protect the props.
Yeah.
From hitting something.
Yes, sir. Prop cages. So
Right here.
those right there.
Yeah, that's super
That's
cool
just
looking.
Apple.
That's like the coolest shroud I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. You know?
And it's also it works really well. Like we were testing it through like busted up cars. Like we were at a public safety training site yesterday.
Yeah.
And they had just crazy burn in tactical houses, all this different stuff on site there. And we were having to just fly it through whatever they asked us to. They're like, this is how we use this stuff on a day-to-day basis if we had it in our toolbox.
Yeah.
Show us if it can do it. And man, the drones performed really well.
Can a consumer can an individual buy any of your products?
They could technically. Tobin, what do you have to say about that?
They're not our target customer.
Right.
So, if someone wants to buy it, we won't tell them no. But that said, a lot of what makes our product amazing for law enforcement and our defense customers doesn't make it that amazing for a consumer. So the fact that it's secure electronics and encrypted communications and a thermal camera probably is not the best value for them at the end of the day.
Yeah. So from a okay, getting into the business side of it, your objective is you probably want to sell these for our listeners, right? The business economic. You most likely want to sell these in quantities and more of you're more of a wholesale type of or bulk seller of your products, right? Like you're not going to sell one off to
They're a solution provider.
provider, right?
That's what they are. It's a solution provider.
We do both.
I hate that cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, we won't
It's
tell
an
one to a
integrated
customer
solution.
who is interested in trying one to potentially buy 100.
Yeah.
We do try to look for larger customers and work with folks who we can scale with.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned this infrastructure stuff, public, private. I worked in the engineering business my entire career, and I'm also an owner in a firm based out there in California that's a structural engineering, earthquake, disaster recovery firm. But I think that's a really good market that I hadn't thought of. Some of these larger engineering firms that are doing all kinds of bridge inspections or dam inspections or parking structure inspections. There's like all kinds of applications for this thing.
100%. And, DJI has really owned that market for a long time. And we're very grateful to the federal government, who's provided us with about $22 million in R&D funding to sort of develop our tech to start to be able to compete with DJI. And then the current laws being passed this year, it looks like DJI is going to be entirely banned in the U.S. by the end of this year. And we're in a really nice spot in that we have this technology that was originally developed for defense customers, but is very relevant to these engineering customers. And so we've been in the process now of advancing it for capabilities specific to them. One that we're really excited about is we actually just last week did our first flight where we were able to get what's called RTK GPS integrated on this trace drone. RTK GPS is what those customers want. So it basically gives us the ability to know within about a centimeter exactly where the drone is on the planet. So it can then take pictures that can be geo-registered precisely, create precise 3D models, used for as-built engineering inspections. But the idea of doing that in a drone that costs under $20,000 and weighs under 250 grams has been pretty unheard of up to this point. So we'll be the first of its kind. And I think there's a big potential for that for a variety of reasons.
If you guys ever want to reach out to the 100 fastest growing architecture and engineering firms, we have our annual conference at SWI Group. You guys should really be in front of that audience. I mean, I think they'd be fascinated with this.
I would love to have that conversation. Yes, please.
Yeah. But
so did you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you are.
I mean, you're the main man of the show.
I'm not the main man.
Come on, Mark. Like anytime I try to say something, no, I'm just kidding, man. All right. So, hey, one quick. I heard the figure 20,000 just come up. Is that how much one of these drones costs? What we
can be actually less than that. So I can do a package for our public safety customers right now to where they get one Vesper drone, like a full kit that has 2 batteries, the controller, the drone, all that put together, and a trace kit with training, all for close to $30,000. So we're not robbing people at these departments. We know that they've been underserved with technology. It's now very accessible.
So to put that in some context, this comparative to a DJI, right? Where you can go to a Best Buy or Walmart or something and you can buy it for $350. To the listeners, this is a whole different spectrum.
It is.
Of what we're talking about, obviously.
And I want people to remember that when you buy DJI equipment, you are funding the problem. We do not need to help how they are treating their workers over there.
Yeah.
And, a lot of us have traveled over there and seen Shenzhen and seen the way that people are worked. You don't want that for yourself, man. You don't want that. And if you support American, we are building this here with people here and trying to make it for users that work on the ground in the United States. Obviously, we should have a global base, but I truly, I'm an immigrant, man. I think supporting this country is very important. It's the best place I've ever lived.
Yeah.
So
just to add to the sort of us versus DJI comparison, I think it's worth noting that yes, you can buy a drone for $30 on Amazon, and man, it's amazing what you can get for $30. It blows my mind. That said, it's not what we deliver, nor is a $350 drone what we deliver. What we deliver is more comparable to, say, the Matrice from DJI, which is getting closer to the $10,000 price point. And so you can buy a full trace system for about $10,000 as well. So we're getting close in terms of value competition with China. As Vlad says, they're a hard one to compete with because they have access to labor rates and willingness to perhaps bend environmental or other human rights ethics that we don't have.
Yeah.
We're in the motorcycle manufacturing business, and so we deal with this all the time. I mean, what we pay for our engines, you can buy a complete bike in China, from China for. I mean, it's just, there's just no way you can compete on price alone because, like you said, they no labor laws, no environmental regulations. I mean, it's just, and then maybe the government props it up on top of it. So let's talk a little bit about your business itself, though. So here we are. We've got the ideal stage to have this incredibly successful growth spurt with the Buy American push and potentially your biggest competitor being thrown out of the market. That's a great opportunity for whoever owns this business. What's the ownership structure of this thing? And has that evolved?
Yeah, so we're a C Corp.
Okay.
And we've raised about $25 million in private investment. And so those investors obviously own a piece of the company as a result. That said, we're very grateful for the relationship we have with our investors. And so, we're certainly able to steer the company in the way that we think is best. And, it's been it's been a wonderful company to have the opportunity to get, in that, if it succeeds, we're certainly grateful for everyone that has helped along the way. But if we fail, we'll only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah. On that, I'm glad you brought that because I was thinking earlier, as you were talking about the competitor being knocked out, you got government, there's funding coming on and all that. Yeah. To our audience who might be an entrepreneur or thinking about it, right? That's usually who our audiences are, right? They're trying to decide or they're trying to grow their business. A lot of different folks. But, if I put myself in an entrepreneur's shoe, I'm like, man, what an advantage, that some folks might go, well, how lucky that is, right? Tobin, I see you already smiling but to make sure that our listeners are clear, it is not an easy ride to get to your positioning opportunity that you're in right now. It is, it took lots of time, lots of energy.
Yeah, you slogged it out for 12 years.
Man, you work, You know, I love Sam Walton's quote, right? Like, yeah, I'm an overnight success, 40 years in the making.
Right.
Dang right.
Right. And I mean, it is a hard road. So can you talk about that a little bit about, like, it sounds really great right now, but it's been a labor to get here, right?
It has.
Yeah, it reminds me
Like
the quote, the best part of being an entrepreneur is you get to work half days and you get to pick which 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Amen.
That's a good one. Right. So the journey to get here, Tobin, right, it's been, I mean, like, man, you've been hammering at it for years, right? Lots of challenges and obstacles, and to be in this particular position.
That is a fact. And man, holy cow, I cannot think of a harder and worse time than the 1-2 punch of a global pandemic and a global supply chain crisis. We had in our products that cost $250 that suddenly cost $400. We were redesigning our product practically on a monthly basis to try to figure out how to work around the latest chip that became unavailable. And that is a period of time that I do not care to ever relive. It was a hard time in my life, that is for sure.
Not that I want you to really relive it right now, but I mean, for real, like, what was that? I mean, like, how did you overcome? I mean, give our listeners some tips if they're going through a hard time in their business. What was maybe 1 or 2 things that you did to break through that time period?
I mean, a lot of it was just putting one foot in front of another, I must say, and not giving up.
Yes,
probably the most important part. And then I think recognizing as well that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that you have to take care of your health. I've always had a firm belief, your own personal health and your family's health has to take priority over whatever you're doing at work, because if that's not intact, whatever you're doing at work is going to be short-lived.
What does that mean though? Like, taking care of your health, because that's a pretty broad statement. Like, I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I made the joke about working 12-hour days. I don't work 12-hour days. I actually try very hard to I leave the office often by 4:30 so I can get home in time to go get on the water in the bay for an hour before dinner, and that just does wonders for my mental health and my ability to sleep well at night. That's usually my canary in the coal mine. Is if I'm not sleeping, I recognize something is off the rails, and I have to make a change, or it's unsustainable.
Get underwater in the bay.
On the water.
On the water, in the bay, kite surfing.
Tobin's he's pretty athletic, man. He's out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I'd like to kind of break that down a little bit, because what you're really saying, if you're mountain biking, right, or what, you need some physical exertion in business, like, to really kind of help. Like, I mean, that's important, right, to keep your stamina going.
Whatever does it for you to clear your head, to connect with friends. But what I've found is that our brain is a muscle, just like any other muscle in our body, and you can overtrain it. And when you do, it's not going to perform. I remember years and years ago, I tried to do a marathon that was coming up soon by just doing the training program, but taking out all the rest sections. And I nearly made it, but I remember when I did the 22-mile run, I did it really fast, and then my legs just could not recover. And you discovered that rest actually does matter. And it matters just as much for your head. If you want your head to be performing as well as it can, you got to give it a break from time to time.
Have you guys heard about this Dutch concept called Niksen by chance?
Tell us about it.
You do nothing. Seriously, that's what it is. You're not going to meditate. You don't meditate. You just do nothing. Okay, maybe you sit there and look out the window and drink your coffee. But it's called Nixon. They believe in that. Yeah, it sounds like Nixon, but anyway. I mean, hey, just reading about this.
So
it's well along the lines of what you're saying, though. You just give your brain a rest.
Well, I mean, like, there's been, like, I've read articles and stuff about where, and I do this accidentally, but you just daydream.
Yeah.
Like, you float off. Like, I've seen people do it. Like, you just kind of stare off and you don't really even know what you're doing.
I fall asleep.
Do
when I
you?
do that? Yeah. That's what happens when you get to be my age.
You could just take naps anywhere.
Dude, I have a great story. I was doing this biggest, Tobin, you'll like this too, Vlad. I was doing the biggest presentation in my life about, I don't know, 10 years ago. It was like huge opportunity for my company. And I go and I drive for like all night. I mean, I am just wasted, tired. Speaking, I'm not taking care of yourself, but I get in this boardroom and there's like 20 people in this company judging my presentation about what I'm trying to pitch them. And the owner of it, older guy, I look over and I'm like literally in the middle of my presentation. He's just over there knocked out, just sleeping. And then he'd wake up and he'd look at me in the eyes and he'd laugh at himself. And he'd look around and then 5 minutes later, he's passed back out. But he thought it was the funniest thing that ever happened. And I'm just like, dude, everything's on the line for me, bro. And you're over taking a nap. That's like Mark's wife, man. You do I'm surprised you're not taking a nap during our podcast.
I'm gonna need one today. I woke up at 3:00. Talk about laying awake, telling your body there's something wrong. I was up, dude.
Yeah.
I was drinking coffee by 4.
Heck yeah, man.
But anyway, I might get a lot done. Yeah, it's not because I got hammered last night. The strings kicked in or something. I went to
normally
bed.
the other way around. You wake up at 9.
I went to bed early and I barely drink. But no, that's interesting that you do that and you're able to do that, Tobin, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So where do you go? How long are you going to do this? Do you have any big exit strategy for this business? What's the plan going forward aside from growing in this market that you're in?
Yeah, well, Matt, I love what I'm doing. If I do it for the rest of my life, I'd call it a good life. So, I'm certainly in no rush to get out. That said, this isn't my company. My job is I am a custodian taking care of everyone else's piece of the company. And I have at the end of the day, a responsibility that's certainly bigger than me. We've had 7 offers for acquisition to date.
And not surprised.
My way of approaching, all of them has been the same, of asking the question of, if we were to be acquired, A, is it good for everyone who owns the shares in the company right now? And B, and this is an important one, is, can we do what we're currently doing more effectively under this new ownership? Because that's the only way it'll be successful for the acquirer, and then the deal will happen. And certainly we'll continue to take that approach as we look at new opportunities for acquisition. I think, as larger companies recognize that it would be perhaps useful to have a small drone strategy, I think that we're a fairly natural acquisition target. There aren't many companies like us in the world. And so I think that's certainly a plausible exit. That said, I remember an investor of ours saying, you got to want to ring that bell, referring to taking the company public. And that would be exciting. I'm certainly, if that's ends up being the right path, it's a path I would be thrilled to do.
In a little bit of time, I got 2 questions.
Okay.
Number one, so Tobin, I'm pointing towards you on this. Our audience or listeners, right? I mean, as any entrepreneur have as a choice, you start up, bootstrap, right? You can go that method, raise capital. Obviously, in your area, in the Bay Area, there's a lot of capital raising going on, right? That's kind of more, I would say that's more the natural thing that happens. I mean, I'm just taking an assumption there. I don't know if there's any, what do you think, from you being a co-founder in this, when did you make that decision, or was that an obvious thing from the get-go on what you were going to try to build? And do you think that what you're trying to do triggers that decision most likely, or is it more of
when you say decision, you're talking about raising?
Like we need to go raise a lot of capital for this venture, or can we bootstrap it, right, and can retain equity? What was yours based off? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I kind of, the mental metaphor I have is making a business is, there's at least analogies to trying to cross a body of water. If you want to cross a puddle, you're going to just step across. If you want to cross a little stream or, a river, you can swim across. If you want to cross a lake, maybe you can make a little boat yourself and paddle across. But if you want to cross an ocean or go around the world, you need to build a bigger boat. And that's going to, take more time, more money to do so. And, I think in our case, and that usually requires investment at the end of the day. And I think in our case, it's worth noting that, Russia, who, makes, nuclear submarines and manned spacecraft, has been unsuccessful making small drones. Huawei tried to make a small drone and failed. GoPro tried to make a small drone and failed. So we are without a doubt crossing an ocean, a really big ocean, a really hard ocean to cross. One of the technically most complex products ever. And so we do need to build a big boat to do so, and that requires money. But I think that's the crux of the question. In theory, you can kind of make a boat piece at a time, kind of the bootstrap method in some markets, but I don't think that ours really lends itself to that.
Especially in your market, right? That is like you reckon, like it's just going to take time to engineer. I mean,
yeah.
And so you and your co-founder, y'all knew that going into it. So it's like an obvious go get. We need to go raise capital. We need to support the time it's going to take, the money it's going to take. That's why you went on that journey.
It is. That said, one of the great things about being in the Bay Area is you get to know a lot of folks who have started other big successful companies. And one of the things I have seen is that the number I hear from most people is that once you go after exceed 100 people in the company, it becomes a lot harder to innovate. And that most founders I speak to have grown companies to, thousands of people say that their favorite time, the company's most effective time, was in that 50 to 100 person range. And so, while I do recognize we have a big challenge and a hard challenge and that there's a minimum viable scale, I am a big believer in small teams and the power of small teams and creating a company that can, built on with people that are capable of doing more than the average person, working really closely together, and being conservative in how much money we raise. One of the challenges if you raise $200, $300 million is you're really limited to a $3 billion, $4 billion exit in order to make a success. In our case, having been more conservative, I certainly would like to cross that $1 billion mark. But if we sell the company for $500 million, I think all our investors would say they're happy they made the investments.
Mm-hmm. That is a really good point, man. I think that will give. Because it's always so hard, right? I talked to a young entrepreneur, and I even contemplated myself, like, what's the right choice? How much do you go raise? What are you going after? And I think it's wise to, in that point, I haven't really thought about that, but your innovation level, your team, your basically your tribe mentality and connection to innovate quickly, go to market quick, do the right things.
Yeah.
When you get past that threshold of those 100 folks, it becomes muddy and a little bit bureaucratic and political. There's other things that start becoming more precedent than staying nimble in that. So my other question, if I can ask, so Vlad, how long have you worked with the company now?
So Tobin just brought me on a few months ago.
Okay.
How did you learn so much so fast about this?
Well, I've been in the drone space for a while. I also have known about their company for a while.
Okay.
And it was just the right time. The director position was open. I'm great at sales. I love Tobin and I love the team there. That's really one of the main reasons that I wanted to come over there, was because of how they've constructed the team and the way that Tobin lets me work. So, when he brought me on, I'm not going to micromanage you. You're expected to do your work and you do it. And I love that because I know what it needs to be done. I'm great at developing business whenever I'm in this stage. And he's just letting me move forward. Like, I just got back in last night. We're doing this today. And then we're going to be right back out again, doing more demos in Arizona. We have a huge one coming up in North Carolina. And there's just a lot of good things happening for the company. And we also, big deals coming down the pipeline too for military and international military as well. So things are really coming together in a very interesting way. And I really love that he brought me on at the time that he did. It was a pivotal moment, especially for growth in the company, to really hit these markets hard. And it's it's been a great ride so far. I love the team that I'm with. I love what we're doing. And like Mark, you say, it's really easy to learn when you love what you do.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
really love what I do. So whenever I knew I was going to be selling these products, and it was pretty easy for me to just sit down and learn exactly what they do. And even though I'm in sales, I love to fly. I've had my part one of seven.
You've got to, I mean, it's got to make you more effective when you actually understand how to use the product.
Yeah, that's where I started.
That's such a key, I think.
So do you love to fly the drones or fly in the airplanes to meetings?
So
what are you talking about?
I do both for sure. Both for sure. I love meeting customers. So as you know, I love getting out, being extroverted, just seeing the people that use these things. I love getting out doing that. And then, I love flying drones. My love for this started, when I was taking them apart in the very beginning. Whenever I first found this technology, I was just tinkering around with it.
Yeah.
And my guy Chris at UVT actually brought me on for my first drone position, and there is where I really just started to take these things apart, learn why they work, learn what's going on in these things that makes them do what they do. And from that point, it really, drove me into sales, business development, and ultimately led me in some really solid positions that I can just really, get out there and show people why this technology is necessary and why it can help. There's no reason departments shouldn't have it.
I'm a big believer generally in marketing that makes the phone ring. Okay.
Yeah.
And the sales is sort of an afterthought in that environment.
You're right.
In your case, I can see why you've got to be able to really get face to face and demonstrate this stuff. I mean, it's just too complicated to just sell it to somebody over the phone or whatever.
And people lie all the time. We have a lot of companies as Tobin said, in the American space, we've had hundreds of companies start up and fail. And it's because they're trying to do what you're talking about. Sell over the phone, tell people, this is our spec sheet, buy it. Yeah, a lot of people know you're full of crap if you do that, because the reality is we have to show up on site, show the departments how these work. We let them fly it. Yeah. I had multiple captains of departments yesterday that I have pictures of them flying this equipment. And one of them, it was his first time ever flying a drone. He flew it just fine. Yeah. We did have to teach him, obviously, what the joysticks do, but he's played a video game before. So he goes, all right, ascension, descension on the left stick. And then the right stick is my directional, actually moving forward. And then that knob right there with the left trigger is your gimbal. So you can control your camera just from right there. And he flew it around for about 40 minutes, just testing it out. And we think we're going to have a sale with them in Virginia coming up pretty soon. So it's just one of those things where what I've learned is I can tell you about it, or I can fly to you and let you freaking fly it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what really sells it for me. I'm not hiding. I love getting out, love showing people what our products can do. And I want people to really trust us and partner with us and give us an opportunity to show them why we're the better drone company.
Well, other than the fact that your audience that you're talking to right now, right, is some of the wonderful people on planet Earth, right, in our country, right, that are first responders, military, etc. The fact is that what they all do has substantial responsibility, right? I mean, like if first responders, like if they don't have good equipment and it doesn't work and they don't know how to use it and it's not trained on it and it's not good product, it can put some people in some really bad positions.
People die.
We can't mess up.
Sure.
For example, we just had a department in Tennessee that we're working with, Montgomery County. They were using our drones for search and rescue. Kids went missing in the woods. They couldn't find them. They just strolled off, but it was freezing outside. So they got the drones up, set a search grid pattern up on our maps, and the drone automatically sets a flight plan. Right. We set the thermal camera to nadir straight down, flew it at 250, and they actually ended up finding the kids using our drones.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
So, lives saved. And then not to mention, you have other situations where like we just use the drones to clear a house. If they see that person with a gun and get him to stop before he shoots at an officer, that's another life saved.
Absolutely.
Sure. So any captain you talk to will tell you that any purchase. Yeah.
It's a noble endeavor. You can feel good about what you're doing.
That's right.
Yeah. And I like it. And I think that's why it really drew me to the space is it does make a difference. I do enjoy what I do. And ultimately, we're doing it at a price point that we're not price gouging our customers.
Sure.
And we're building great relationships. Yeah.
So. Well, it definitely helps sales and marketing if you have people that understand how to use the product and are passionate about it. I mean, I know that sounds so obvious, but then Harley Davidson just hired a new CEO who's never ridden a motorcycle and came out of the Pizza Hut chain and some other business. I can't remember what it was. And I mean, I question that, whether that's a smart thing to do.
Tobin can attest to this. This is happening in the drone industry right now. We have large drone companies that are getting to these points in their journey where their valuation's getting super high. They're kind of like pushing certain leadership out, and then the board is bringing these guys in that
it's like
can run the company because they were a CEO at some tech firm.
Yes.
They don't know anything about what we do.
We have talked about this before on this show.
Yeah.
It's so common. It's like, get the entrepreneurs. At some point, they can't grow it. Now we
It's
can
like-
get these institutional type managers in there.
No, and
I'm
Tobin,
very skeptical of them.
he needs to be our CEO because not only is he the guy building it, but he believes in it.
Exactly.
He knows what the product can do. He's not some guy that hasn't flown a drone. And
Exactly.
that's what we need at our company.
Fundamental.
Yeah, it's fundamental, but
It
guess
really
what?
is.
It doesn't seem to make sense to the people with $100 million.
I
in
know.
cash.
No, it's like, let's go get brand managers or whatever.
We're gonna
Okay.
get that guy that ran Arby's for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
Drone company.
He knows how to exit. He knows how to scale and exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
And it's brutal because it's caused some companies to fail in our space that I don't think deserve to fail.
Well, that's one of my personal passions, is this whole idea that the entrepreneurs need to get run off at some point and bring in professional management.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's what everybody likes to say. You know, I hear it around the halls of the business school.
Well, anytime that happens, there's a big hole, a mysterious hole that the entrepreneur leaves when they're out of that company.
Took the heart out, bro.
Take the heart
You
out.
took the heart
Yeah,
out.
but then all the good to great people will say, but that's level 5 that's level 4 management.
Did you
we
learn
need
that
level-
at business school,
We
Mark?
need level 5 managers here. Okay, they're not inspirational or charismatic. You know, I think it's bullshit. Okay,
I agree.
yeah, it's easy to replace a level 5 manager. They're not passionate. Nobody cares if they're there or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you know, it's
sucks
like
the life out of you.
it's like, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Tobin, you've been quiet over there. Anything else? You wanna
Well,
add?
he's just letting the rant go.
We need to wrap this up and get back to work. But anything else you want to add for our audience?
Well, thank you so much for the conversation here. This has really been a pleasure. And at the end of the day, as far as adding for the audience, we are always, my favorite conversation is having conversations with customers. So if anyone in the audience is interested in drones, interested in your products, especially in a space that's maybe off our radar that we're not thinking about. You mentioned some of the engineers. Those are my favorite conversations to have, to learn more about challenges people have when we might be able to help them. So certainly welcome that. And again, thank you so much for the conversation. It's been a lot of fun.
Speaking of, how do people get in touch with the company? Where do they go? What do they need to do?
Website is the first point of entry. So go to vantagerobotics.com. And then there's a contact us page button on just about every page on the website. And that'll ultimately get to me.
You can find us on LinkedIn easily too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
People reach out to us all the time on there. And if you really do just want some help with drone industry knowledge or whatever it may be, we're always willing to help people.
Great.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank y'all so much for your time, for coming on. It's been a really good combo.
It's been very interesting.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys having us on, man. It's great. And, it's awesome to have stuff like this in our area, in Northwest Arkansas, California, just happening in our country right now. So we appreciate y'all.
We ought to get y'all back into in a few months, as things develop and we get an update. I mean, I think it's,
That'd be fun.
it would like I think the positioning that you're in is like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, as we know, like I wonder how all that stuff will develop out. Be neat.
We'll see. Yeah. We think we're in a good position.
Yeah.
And so
Sounds like it.
yeah, it's we're just looking forward to the ride, man. The end of the year is going to be fun. We have a lot of cool events set up. A cool one that I don't know if y'all have heard of, it's called International Association of the Chiefs of Police. It's happening in Colorado this year. That's something we're doing in October as well. So just get to in front of all these people.
Don't do anything stupid there, Vlad. That'd be stupid.
Hey.
Wait.
That's the perfect opportunity to show out.
All right,
Don't even
guys.
speed, bro.
Hey, we gotta get there somehow.
Well, it's great having you on the show. It's definitely a different topic than we've talked about before, and we're always glad to do that. And so for those of you who are interested in either being on the show or sponsoring it, check us out at www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com and reach out to Eric or myself. And in the meantime, this has been another episode of
Big Talk About Small
Business.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.